to another episode of the Jimmy Rex Show, and today I'm actually here in Las Vegas. This is where I actually met this man for the first time. This is a good friend of mine, Mr. Shaun. Michael.
Pleasure, my friend. Nice to be here.
Great to be here with you.
Nice to have some time out with you last night as well.
Absolutely. So
tables, totally clueless to what we were doing.
I taught him how to play roulette last night. It was one of his first times actually playing roulette, and I lost and he won. So go figure. I guess that's how it works here in Vegas sometimes. There's a thing about it. I think anytime you start your first time gambling, you're going to win. It's like the gambling god's way of like screwing you over for the rest of your life. Well, there you go.
And you won as well. Because we
true.
did actually say, we said, right, let's go in, let's blow $100 and enjoy the experience. So to me, that's winning. We had the experience. That's exactly what I wanted.
If you're going into gambling to try to win money, you've probably already screwed it up. You should only do it with money that you have, the money to lose. But the reason I am so excited to have Shaun on the show today, Shaun and I met down here 2 years ago. I actually hit him up on Twitter. I saw that he was in Las Vegas. I was down here for the BYU-Utah game and the bowl game, and he has a unique background where Shaun is one of the world's most renowned attraction coaches and pickup artists. And I just thought it was a fascinating background of somebody, and we got to know each other a little bit. I sat down and we had dinner one night, and we ended up kind of just hitting it off as friends. And you just fascinated me ever since. I think you have a lot of interesting things. We've done a lot of fun adventures together. You came to Sundance a couple of years ago, and that was a fun time. And then we went to Mexico City, Toronto. We've been all over the world together.
Amsterdam.
So. Yes, very fun time. So tell us, the reason I wanted to put you on the show is this is a show about exceptional people that just do something very well. And you have a skill set where you help men. And the thing that I was most like about what you do is it's pickup. It sounds bad when you say it that way. I don't even like to call it that, but it kind of is. But you basically, and what I've seen, especially like I've watched you work with these different guys that really didn't have much luck. You can tell they've never really done very well in their whole lives with women, and you've been able to help them get to a point where they can actually get a woman to look past their nervousness or their awkwardness and these things, and actually have a shot of letting them see they are good guys and things like that. But you just have a lot, it's a very interesting skill set. So I wanted to before we get into your background a little bit, tell us a little bit of why is this something that you have decided to make a career of, because you now coach. You have a whole company set up around this called 3 Second Rule, and you coach men all over the world, but you also have coaches that coach other men all over the world. You're like the team. You're like the kingpin of the Hitch.
The kingpin of the Hitch. I like that.
And so what about it do you enjoy the most, and why this as a career as opposed to, you obviously went into it originally just to learn some skill sets, but then you really have made it a career out of it. And so what was it about it that you love so much?
Initially, I've always been into personal development. The Stephen Covey, the Grant Cardone, Tony Robbins, anything that's out there, you can better yourself. And it's really interesting. The one thing I keep hearing people say in the world of dating and meeting people and finding a mate, they also go, just be yourself. And I always reflect back, the one thing Jung used to talk about was the concept of individuation, to become all that you are not. We're not meant to be ourselves. We're meant to grow and evolve. And if you want better things and better people and better returns and material things or better houses or success, you have to up your skill sets. So becoming more sociable as an ex-army training instructor who left the British Army, had to move to London, and my whole social circle was gone and had to start again, which was very uncomfortable. I became fascinated that social skills can be learned. And then also attraction skills can be learned as well. So I'm very fascinated. Sometimes I'm not so comfortable that it's primarily what I do now, because there's a lot of money in it for the business. But the core part of me has always been life coaching, sports psychologist, speaker, trainer, motivator. I've been doing that since the age of 19.
Well, yeah, and something that's different with you. You teach. There's basically 3 parts. There's like the initial skills of like how to attract somebody into your life, but you talk a lot more about actually having your life set up, the wealth side of it, the social side of it. Talk a little bit about that as far as like when people are trying to develop different skill sets. How does that play into somebody that's trying to, I guess, just attract the right mate into their life, essentially?
Well, that's the thing, is like archetypally, we're all designed and we'll only feel complete if not that we have a woman or a man in our lives, but that we have the skills, like skills to hunt and build shelter and find woman, we've got to have those skills, and we'll always feel niggled inside. Our emotions will constantly be reacting, if you don't have those skills. So what I really like is that we focus on yeah, there's the attraction bit, but that's a very small phase to attract someone into your life. And then the social skills to have a quality lifestyle that allowed us to meet in the first place. Those social skills.
Yeah.
Even if I'm not naturally that sociable. My bar and club days are done a long time ago. But if you don't go out, you don't get to meet cool people, beyond meeting a mate. And then a lifestyle that affords you the ability to travel, have some freedoms, so that when you find someone special in your life, that you actually have a bit of coin, for fuck's sake, to actually go out and enjoy it together. Because there's nothing worse. You meet someone, you're attracted together, and here's a thought: beautiful women. There's a value in that. They know that if you're beautiful, then and guys would like to be with a beautiful woman. Is your life beautiful? Does it match up? Women don't like to downgrade. If they've had been with a guy who's generous and who's out there doing what a man should do. He's a good provider and a good protector. And I know we have equality in life and feminism, but at some point your girlfriend or your wife will be impregnated. She's going to have your child. Then you have to provide and protect.
Sure.
She wants to know you can do that. So the guy's got to do his bit anyway. But what's worse is you get together, you like each other, and you have a shitty quality life. You don't travel like you get to do. You don't get to go see cool football shows, or you don't go to see the Phantom of the Opera in London. You don't get to do anything because you're not making any coin, because you spent your life either focusing on your hobby, your Xbox, or even sometimes pickup, going out trying to get a girl for a weekend, and you spend so much time investing into that you don't build a quality life that when you get that perfect person for you can't even keep them in the first place. So yeah, build a lifestyle that is going to afford you both a quality life and also keep the beautiful woman that you want to define in the first place.
Yeah, no, I think it's an important part of it that that's one of the things, like if I met you and you were just this sleazy pickup artist trying to go out and pick up a different woman every night, I would have been totally turned off by that. But one thing that, in fact, when I met you, your girlfriend came with you to Sundance with us. You're here with your girlfriend in Vegas right now, things like that. And so that to me showed that this was more for you of get the skill. I think your quote is saying like get the skill so that you can move past the pickup, right? Like don't make
the skill,
right?
It's not life itself.
Yeah,
it's like you don't go and get sales and become now I'm a salesperson. No, it's just a skill. I don't walk around saying I'm a salesperson or a pickup artist. It's just a skill like a million other things.
Yeah.
Lock the skill down. Now get on with bloody living.
Well, so backing that up though, I think there's a lot of people listening to this that are probably by this point like, okay, well, what are these? What are some things? What are some skills? And so I want one of the things with you. I've tried to bring people on here that teach attraction and just kind of how more to bring the right people into your life. Mm-hmm. And so what are some things, what are the 5, I know you talk about the 5 attraction triggers. Okay. Share those with us a little bit, people listening. What are those 5 attraction triggers and why are they so important for a man that's trying to attract the right woman into his life?
And that's a good question, and Jimmy, and that's like the unconscious attraction switches. You see, we all say, oh, I like this and I like that. But there are also things that are DNA wired, especially into women, that allow them to select a man. You see, a man can look at a beautiful woman and go, wow, because her beauty is on the outside. And you go, wow, I'd love a girlfriend like that. Well, they don't know anything about her. She could be an absolute Fruit Loop, but she's good looking, but that's normally enough for the guy. For the woman, he can be attractive as a man, he has a nice fashion style, but that's not enough. So she needs to know more about it. And she has to do that, and there's a pressure. Because if she allows him to stay around in a bar social environment and talking, and then finds out, oh, actually, there's not much there, then the guy doesn't get the message. Guys, by the way, we are evolutionary wired to misinterpret signals.
What do you mean by that?
Basically, a woman smiles or talks to you a little bit, and when she talks, she might be touchy-feely. She might just talk to you like that, and guys already getting aroused. There's mechanisms firing inside them. Oh, she's interested. She's attracted to me. And guys can be a bit weird like that. So women have to have mechanisms themselves, especially by the age of 23, 24, if they're beautiful. They've been approached so many times, and guys think it's bitchy when they just close them down, but they have to be like that because the wrong needy guy lingering around, he doesn't get the message. She might have to go to the bathroom. She might have to leave the whole bloody venue just to get rid of this one needy guy who misinterpreted the signals. So there are unconscious attraction switches that if he can upload them fast, hit her at her evolutionary level, that she can bypass what he looks like, which is great for guys. You don't have to be a good-looking guy to attract a good-looking woman. And if you can upload them fast, she's going to find herself, even though she maybe didn't like the look of him, or he's a bit of a dick, can actually find herself becoming attracted. And that's beautiful for a man to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But it's a skill and it has to be learned. But most importantly, what we've got to remember is that she has done her bit. She's put her makeup on. Guys think they just stand there. No. If you watch a good-looking woman getting ready, the amount of tools and the makeup and the hair extensions.
That's one of the things, when anytime a guy belittles a woman's looks, I take it very personal for that woman, because I've been in those rooms where women literally will take 3 to 4 hours to get ready to look their best. And so when a man attacks their look, somebody, I did this black tie gal a couple of weeks ago, and somebody on Facebook attacked the women's dresses. He said some of the women were dressed slutty, and I said, dude, I just fired back at him and I said, maybe take a look at what that really was. Those women, to you, for whatever reason, your moral code says that was slutty, but really they had spent hours getting ready and just tried to appreciate the beauty of what they were doing. They weren't doing that for themselves. They were doing that because they wanted to feel good and look good in a night, and they all looked amazing. Yeah. And the funny part is, this guy, you can look at his Facebook profile, was like a total loser, and he would have slept with any one of those girls if they'd given him the time of day. Those women were just out of his league, and that was his way of firing back at those women.
And guys do that, especially guys who don't have choice, don't know how to meet and mate with a woman of beauty. They resent those women of beauty. The guys can be, really dysfunctional about that.
And along those lines, nowadays in the news, you're seeing a lot of men, it's coming out, a lot of men mistreating women, right? A lot of men that are trying to either sexual allegation or sexual assault, these different things, or even just sexual harassment. So how do you help men to get to a point where they, A, can hit on women without being sexually harassing, and secondly, how does that help men when they learn the skills so that they don't have to get into these desperate situations?
Yeah,
because for me, that's a big part of learning pickup is so that you don't have to turn to these other manipulative forms.
And people would say, well, why do you need to learn that in the first place? But the thing is, you see, women practice the art of their makeup and their push-up bras, and they put their best selves forward when they go out. But nobody taught the man. So you go back 50 years, it might have been commonplace to tell a woman in the workplace, give her a smack on the backside, the boss, and if she responds favorably, oh wow, he's with his secretary. That might have been acceptable, or may not have been, but it was more commonplace. But because guys just don't know, they don't know what to do, so they resort to the most basic crude tactics, and it gets them in trouble, and it makes other people feel uncomfortable. So our focus was to show people how to have a bit of sophistication and attraction, not make them feel uncomfortable, win over everybody in the group. And you know what's beautiful is when you can walk up literally to a group of random women, they're having a good time, and then you can actually add value to that time. That you can engage everyone in that group, even the one who's not so pretty, the one who doesn't get any attention. She feels involved without deliberately showing your attention to the one that you really like, because you might like the look of her. As she starts speaking, you go, actually that one's got a better quality personality. Guys don't do that because they don't have choice, so they're looking for the best looking one. Don't make anybody feel uncomfortable, and literally the ability to say, you know what, after a while, you've won over the group, and say to the girls, you know what, the one that you like, you say, you know what, we like each other. You guys cool with that? And they're like, yeah, take her away. Like, you know what, we're going to grab a drink. I'd like to connect. I've only got 10 minutes. I've got to go rejoin my friends, but give us 10 minutes to connect and come join us for a drink. And let's go. And the ability to walk over with her friend's approval, that's beautiful. Everybody feels great. Unfortunately,
so many times a guy comes into a group of women and all they want to do is reject him because he's not adding any value to the group. They're trying to have an enjoyable night.
Or he's boring, he doesn't know how to speak.
Or he comes in with a motive and an agenda right off the bat.
Yeah, right? and he speaks to the one he really likes. And more importantly, it's like that we have an image of a picture of a chicken claw on a woman's leg, and it's like, ugh. And that's how women can feel, when a guy leans in a hay and he wants to get attention, the women are like, ugh, they're dying inside. And more importantly, he's just being antisocial. But again, nobody taught him. He's forgetting that while he's speaking to the one he likes, he's alienating everybody else.
So backing up into your story a little bit here, then I want to kind of get to know you a little bit more. Tell me, what was life like when you were a little kid? I mean, did you? I think a lot of people see their own relationships based on what their parents' relationship was like. I don't know if that's something you'd be willing to talk about. What was your family situation, and what was life like when you were little?
It's interesting because I've been to Utah a couple of times now, and it's a beautiful community spirit. Where I come from, literally, if you've ever watched the Game of Thrones, the ice wall. Well, it's based on UK geography. I don't like the wildlings, so it is a bit wild up there. And unfortunately, there's a lot of divorce and single parents. My mom was divorced and remarried a couple of times. So I don't think that really affected me. I just realized earlier on I didn't ever fit into a real group. I wasn't one of the fighter group. I wasn't one of the intellectual group. I wasn't the Dungeons and Dragons group. I wasn't the music crowd. So I kind of moved between. I never really fitted. And I realized, as you know, people say you should be proud of where you come from. Well, my place was a shithole. So at 16, I went and joined the British Army. Got away. And even then, I realized when everybody went to the army bar, and I didn't enjoy just sitting there drinking and being that sociable. I realized I like to tap into people with good energy, people I get on with, and there's some commonality. But just to go out and be drunk all the time, which is the British Army way, I wasn't that sociable. So I knew that earlier on, and then when I left the army, as I said before, it's to go into London where it's cold and harsh and very impersonal. That was a big shock to my system, because for 10 years, from 16 to 26, that's a long time in a British institution.
Can you give us an example then of like something in the British Army that maybe like when you were going out? So this was that's a key dating point in your life, 16 to 26. Is there examples like, did you have girlfriends then? Was there women that you were interested in? Or how did you develop from this army guy to going into the pickup community? What was that transition?
Yeah, I was the quiet kid at school. I was a very slow developer. So I think I lost my virginity at 18, maybe beginning 19. And I was in the British Army. And then my confidence started to peak. I became an Army fitness training instructor, a little bit stronger. I bothered to go learn German, so I got to go out a little bit more and meet people. And that was different. It was British, in a German institute. And then without your guys, a few guys together, I didn't have any skills. It was just happening. You're out having a good time.
Having fun with the guys.
And you met some girls, and I had some relationships with some German girls. Greased my wheels with a bit of sex now and again. And I was having a good time, but it was just all happening to me, the situation, the environment. So there was no skill there, and which I never realized, never had to focus. So all of a sudden when I left the British Army, and I was in London, managing a new fitness club that hadn't even launched yet, there was nobody around me. I'm like, wow, this is kind of lonely. I don't know anybody. How do you go out? How do you go out and start again? And that's different if you're in a community like Utah's, a very nice, knit, tight community. But somebody moving around and you have to start again.
Yeah.
That can be really wow. So it was a shock to my system. So I just accepted that and put my time into my energy, into my career and my wealth, and became a regional sales manager for my fitness clubs. But now I'm moving around all the time. It's even worse. I'm constantly like a little gypsy moving around. So I didn't get to meet people. So I was thinking there must be something that allows you to be more sociable. And for men, there are thousands and thousands of books for women, but there are like 4 or 5 for men in the world on being more sociable. Not even about being more social, about pickup, but I just wanted to have a new social circle around me to create that. So I became fascinated, and because I'd always been into personal development, I thought there must be more skills to find and meet and attract beautiful people, men and women, for your bonding circle. So I thought, I'm going to find those skills. And that's exactly what I did.
Well, I did a similar thing. It's just natural. I think human behavior, I have life coaches. I read a lot of books and things like that. And so I read the book, The Way of the Superior Man. It's one of the best books I've ever read. That's all about essentially upping your game as a man. And I've just noticed how, in general, I become a better person. One thing that I didn't even realize in my 20s when I was out dating a lot is I was really needy. I never thought that. I thought I was happy, thought I was doing all these right things. I thought I was entertaining, but I was kind of like this dancing monkey, right? And instead of attracting the women, I was coming off needy, and I never knew that. And it wasn't until I started really to study attraction and got some life coaches and some things like that helped me understand a little bit more of like, look, here's what you think is the result of what you're doing. I just didn't know. Like you said, it's like guys don't know. We don't know this naturally. I didn't know. I thought I was doing what you're supposed to do. People in the room were laughing. People were having fun.
Enjoying your energy,
Sure.
As I do,
Yeah. But once I learned to kind of hone it in and kind of, it switched. I went from being the dancing monkey to the room to upping my value and actually being able to attract the women that I was trying to. And so I, for one, think everybody should study attraction, should study how to up your life in any aspect, wealth, money.
Totally. It's a skill. It's a skill.
Exactly.
Some people, especially women, will say, especially if they're hot, they'll say, why do you even need to bother? Well, they don't need to bother because they're hot. They've done their job. The guy's got to do the approach. The hardest thing for the guy, like you were saying, what yours was, you were a bit needy. For me, I was into psychology and the Jungian colour personality. So that was all I ever talked about. So I was almost Mr. Serious when I was passionate about what I was into, but I was almost taking my work into a social setting because I didn't really practice my social skills. So I was a bit miscalibrated there as well. And a lot of people think that wow, having to learn how to approach and what to talk about. But the thing is, women have been speaking about attraction since the age of 9 years old. They're putting mummy's heels on and their lipstick, and they're getting themselves ready for womanhood way earlier. The guys are kicking a soccer ball around.
Sure.
You know, they're not talking about, apart from, did you get laid or not? You know, did you got a girlfriend? But they don't talk about the details of how, because guys don't do that. So nobody ever really teaches the guys. So you end up with guys who have either got it because of the natural circumstances in the environment. Some guys are the leader of the soccer club, and it just happens to them. And then for those who haven't got it, what do? So there are things they can learn.
So going back to that, I talked about the 5 attraction triggers. We didn't really go through them. Will you share those? Because I think you do. You have a lot of YouTube videos. By the way, people that are looking to find you online, we'll attach some videos and things like this, because you have a lot of trainings for guys and for women and things like that. But what are those 5 attraction triggers you really try to help men have in their life and be?
Those 5 unconscious secret attraction switches.
There you go.
But before I give you those, tease. One of the most important ones is to remember is that how many women will they have in their lives? How many friends will they have in their lives? How many partners, girlfriends, wives will they have in their lives that you do not approach? None.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. So the key thing is we can talk about all that, but unless you're willing to get off your backside and get up and go approach, not wait until you accidentally bump into people. You're waiting for a chance. But what happens if there's someone special across there? And that's hard for a guy to get up and walk right across, win over her group, but you've got to take action. And we call it obeying the 3-second rule. And that's the most fundamental part.
And explain that a little bit, because that's the name of your company, is 3-second rule. So
and
what is that 3-second rule?
It's literally, if a guy he sees the girl he likes, and he doesn't make a beeline and get over there and speak to her, even though he doesn't know what to say. I mean, what's going on right now, the hotter she is, which is great. Guys hate it though, they get this anxiety buildup. That's an emotional reaction. Hopefully one day when you meet your future wife, you're going to feel an emotional pang. That's beautiful. But it cripples them at the same time. Or, what should I say? Which your friends there? Maybe she's got a boyfriend. All this bullshit that's going on in his head, stinking thinking. What's going on emotionally? His stomach is reaching down to his testicles and it's nibbling them on them just for a bit of nourishment to get his ass across there. So here's the thing, obey the 3-second rule. Because women like confident men. Confident men equals resources, successes. And if he demonstrates the other, he keeps looking over and he doesn't approach, in her eyes, he's not that successful, he's not that confident. So she's losing attraction for him fast. For the guy, he starts stinking thinking. He's making reasons up in his head. Every second past then, he's talking himself out of it and getting into a headspace, which makes it even harder to meet more people. So number 1 is obey the 3-second rule and get yourself over. Even if you don't know what to say, hi. It's better than anything. It's probably the worst opener, but it's also the best if you got nothing. But put a smile on your face, add a bit of energy, act like you own the place, and give good energy.
Well, and that's speaking on that frame is, one of the hardest things for men is to approach a woman. There's just a natural anxiety that men get to approach a beautiful woman, and so that is a skill that you help these men. One of the things that you do is try to expedite their training by getting them uncomfortable, making them do this.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that.
Well, hey, if you want to get success and have more choice, fail faster. Get uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable to walk across the room with other people looking at you and face the fear of rejection. People who do sales know that. But when you're getting rejected as a man, personally, and it's the man's job, unfortunately, the woman approaches, she knows that men are going to misinterpret that signal. So it's a bit of a dangerous play for her. Let the guy do his job. Get yourself across there. Get off your fucking ass and move, So he does that, and he knows he's being judged. And it's just a horrible place to be for a guy. But in most guys, they'll approach. If you went out in a whole year, the average guy might make 3 or 4 approaches.
In an entire year?
Yeah.
Wow.
And because it doesn't go well, I'm not on about a girl you bumped into and you start chatting. I'm on about literally going over to the one you really like, taking action, going for what you want. Then, he gets rejected and he doesn't like it. And that's all he remembers. So you go through a few months when he makes that attempt and it doesn't go well, he feels it. So it cripples him from doing it again. So you literally got to go for 30 days where you're going to go out and literally approach 50 to 100 women. Just to desensitize.
Every night?
No,
in a 30-day period.
Yeah, in a 30-day. If you approach 1 or 2, well, you're not even warmed up, chances are you're going to speak a little bit faster. so you appear a bit more nervous, or you start stuttering, or you run out of things to say, so you give up. But it takes 2 or 3 approaches just to warm up. Then you go for 5 or 6. As you start to relax, you'll notice you get more positive responses. But guys just don't do it. They stand around, we call social wanking, the glass in their hand, their straw. Social wanking, looking around, the observer. Don't be the observer, be the observer. The best clue that guys can have is be the guy when he's with his friends who's leading the conversation. He's got fun, interesting things to share, and he's sharing them, and as women walk by, they'll see the leader. Women are naturally attracted to the leader. But it's very hard if you're not that sociable, and you're quiet, and you've got shitty delivery, and you sit on the outside being quiet.
So when you first started with, because you went to I think I read in 2009 is when you started, 2007, you went to one of these boot camps.
Yeah.
And so did you do that when you first started? And what was that like walking into the room the first time where you had no idea what this community was? You just had been studying.
Uncomfortable.
And tell us about why.
Uncomfortable.
It's
because as soon as, again, I probably spent a lot of money in my life. I reinvest a lot in my own personal growth. And to know that there were people who were practicing pickup, dating, social, I wanted to expose myself to that uncomfortability. I didn't realize that the guys that were there, I flew to Chicago from the UK, was so technical.
You flew all the way from the UK to Chicago.
It was only in the US that these training camps, boot camps on attraction, dating, social were available. And they did, what intrigued me is they did it live where you went out. And because I'd seen a film Hitch, but to go live and have these dating coaches give you some feedback on what you were doing wrong, I was like, that sounded uncomfortable.
You said Neil Strauss was the one that gave that exact one, right? And he was who wrote the game.
The book, The Game, yes.
And he just released a book, he interviews for Rolling Stones, Elon Musk, and he just wrote the book for Kevin Hart. So, I mean, this was a guy that has
been on
so
the journey.
much experience. And so you personally were taught by him at that point.
Yeah.
And so you went out and did you make these 50 to 100 approaches your first 30 days?
Do you know what? The hardest thing was I was the guy that told me to read the book, The Game, to get the understanding. And it's just a system of meet, attract, build an emotional connection. It's just natural.
Sure.
But letting guys know that anytime you try to, for instance, you try to connect and you ask needy questions like, what do you do, where are you from? Then you're into the friend zone. Or you're the sleazy player who tries to be sexual and you didn't build real attraction connection, now you're the player. Or again, that you build some attraction and then you jump to seduction without spending time to build a connection, well then the girl gets buyer's remorse, you might have one night lay and then you're not going to see her again. So there are consequences to missing out part of the natural attraction system. So that fascinated me. But yeah, I was there and I hadn't read the book The Game, and these guys were speaking a novel language. And then we were going to go out, and there's like 12 guys, and for some reason we all like to dress in black. It was just that thing.
Okay.
Which is weird enough as it was. And I thought, well, I know I'm not that sociable. I'm not a bad-looking guy, but it really is about desensitizing to the art of approach. I really got that fast. And I remember why I got good faster is I said, I'm going to approach more women in one night than the entire 12 guys in this program. And I did. I got rejected and blown out more time than the entire team.
Sure.
But I've got to meet a few girls that, you meet some people that I would never have met. I remember meeting a couple of girls at the bar that were lawyers. And anyway, that's hot in my world. There was a sophistication about them I really liked. But they just had a really standoff, bitchy look. And I thought, I would never approach them. And I think one of them's still on my Facebook today. Nothing happened with it, but it was just a little friendship that happened. And it was beautiful to know that, aside from all the rejections, a lot of them in one night, and dismissals, and okay, this conversation's going nowhere fast, uncomfortable, gone, that I was meeting people for the first time ever out of taking action rather than waiting until it happened. And it excited me. It was painful.
Sure.
And then I did it the next night.
And so how many approaches would you say you've done in your life now? And how many did it take before that anxiety, that uncomfortability finally went away?
Well, I got good. But remember, I'd been a speaker trainer for a while, so I knew how to break down learning something fast, skills. So I was able to take the crude art, what they were teaching, and put it into little mechanisms myself to get faster. So yeah, to date, I've probably done about 3,500 approaches.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, it's probably more than my entire country put together. And I've met some beautiful people along the way. I have my beautiful girlfriend in my life because of my ability to approach. But here, a little mechanism. It needs about 100 approaches.
Okay.
For you just to desensitize and obey the 3-second rule. So when you see, like, you're on your own, you're not with your friends, no Dutch courage, no alcohol, yeah? But a girl walking out of Starbucks somewhere over there, and you're like, wow, boom, over there, to not make her feel uncomfortable as an art, and also let her know there's an interest, and maybe even go on a date or an instant coffee date, or not at all. But to do that takes some balls, and it takes practice.
Yeah.
So if you can get in 30 days, like 100 approaches, then you'll grow faster. Some people grow slow, but that's more painful. So 100 to desensitize, so 200 just to start getting better at learning of what to say to keep the conversation stimulated. Another 500 so your delivery has more impact, so you command more attention when you're speaking, and 1,000 to be micro-calibrated. So it's like you're in the Matrix. You see things happening before they happen, and it's like, it's fun. And along the journey, if you don't go out to get the girl, but get the social skills, eventually you meet a lot of beautiful people in your life.
For sure. Well, so you obviously are no longer getting nervous doing that. I mean, that's something that you have that's what you train. That's your mastery. What do you do then at this point?
I don't get nervous. Totally, I get nervous.
You still get nervous when you...
Yeah, it's an emotional reaction. When I met my girlfriend and she came in there, I was actually with another girl at the time, and she was in there, and there was just something about her beauty, her bounce. She actually came into the club, and she came straight from a dance training session. So she was actually in a hoodie, but there was something about her energy that piqued me, and I felt that pang of, wow, back in the day of the anxious energy, I found myself speaking a bit too fast, but I could override that. But hopefully any man, when he meets someone special, he's going to feel it. If you don't feel that pang of anxiety or emotion, there's something fucking dysfunctional about you.
Well, I think that's important for people to hear, that like, even though you've approached so many women in your life, you still feel that anxiety. I still, if I'm approaching somebody cold, I totally get an anxiety about it.
Somebody has value for you. It's more about when it matters that you'll feel it. It's just a human nature. But guys let that anxiety cripple them. By the way, women get the same anxiety.
When they approach a man, or what?
No, just before sex.
Explain that.
It's a DNA wiring is that...
More anxiety than a man would get before
sometimes
sex?
Even more so. It can be very emotional, and guys don't understand that, and they need to, because what happens is, in her DNA wiring, if she has sex with you right now, then in her mind, her DNA wiring, which is thousands evolutionary years old, it's literally saying she's going to get pregnant. Is this guy going to stick around? Is he going to be a protector? Is his strength as a man actually going to backfire and he's going to abuse her? Will he look after her? Will he be loyal? There's all these factors.
All that's going on subconsciously.
Yeah, and an unconscious, she doesn't even control that. It's evolutionary wiring for allow her to attract a mate. Now, in this day and age, we know, well, hey, he can bag and tag. He can literally sheath up, put a condom on, and that's not a problem. But her evolutionary wiring doesn't say that. So just before sex, women have this natural tendency just to take a pang. And guys can get very frustrated about that, but it's natural. You don't get that so much if you actually spend time connecting with a person. And that's what people miss out. They try and do the pick-up, the approaching, the dating. But if you spend time with a person, build a real emotional model of building a relationship, then that is less likely to happen. And that's why guys get themselves in trouble, because they push for the same night lay.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of these stories come out of guys that just kind of act like assholes or do, terrible things with women because...
And she gets that reaction even stronger, and then you get pissy, and then you're into problems.
Very fascinating.
So that anxiety is there. We both feel it as a man. The anxiety of a man is to protect you. You're not going to get beat up in caveman days by approaching the wrong woman. And that's how, it could cost you your life. You could get maimed, or if you lost the fight, you're on the outside of the tribe, you're lower value. You don't get to be in the tent with the warmth. You could starve. There are consequences to approach. You go to Glasgow in Scotland these days, there are consequences for approaching the wrong goal. And it's still evolutionary wired in us to feel uncomfortable. Our job is to find the 3-second rule or mechanisms.
So even though to a man, like to approach a woman, obviously the odds of a man killing you or maiming you because of that in these days are very low, and you're not going to be this outcast in your society because it's such a big society now. You can move, you can go find new neighborhoods, whatever it is. But you're saying evolutionarily that same anxiety when we were in small huts and villages is caveman.
Oh, still there. It's still there today.
Okay.
And so I've been to Utah, and it's a very tight community. So, and probably, I don't think you travel a lot, which is great.
Right.
But people in tight communities, they know each other. If you approach too many and you fuck it up too many times and you become that guy.
Yeah, there's guys.
There are consequences.
Yeah, there's guys around town where it's like they're just kind of known as like that guy.
Yeah, and it gets round. So the consequences still, which means his value of life is diminished because of a shitty approach. So I say to guys, normally when you're practicing, don't practice on your own turf. Go to another town and you'll feel more relaxed.
Oh, that's smart. Okay. Well, so you don't get as much anxiety, obviously, approaching women anymore. What do you do? Because I know you're big into life, growing yourself as a person all the time. Mm-hmm. What do you do now to put yourself in these situations where you feel uncomfortable so that you can grow?
Yeah, I deliberately go on other people's training programs that give me all the skill sets that, allow me to challenge myself.
Is there anything outside of the pickup that you do? Like, I know you do a lot of different things with your Facebook. You're always posting pictures of hiking mountains, these different things that you do.
Oh yeah, I mean, people think I'm a bar club guy. Not at all. I'll literally have, one weekend, like I'm on a training camp. Here we are. Another weekend, like as soon as I get back, I don't want to see a bar. I want to be up a mountain, hiking, breathing. That's my thing. That's what I like. And it's great, by the way, because once you have choice in your life and you're not just selecting woman on beauty, I've got a girlfriend who loves to hike up mountains too, She has things to bring into my life, so it's great. But you don't get that if you're just reacting to the first beautiful girl you see. Then another weekend, I will go to a local bar or club, and I've got a local club owner I know, and I grace him with my presence. So he looks after me when I'm there. I like to take a few friends, and it's not about picking up, it's making sure everybody has a good time around you. And another time I just like to stay in. So I literally might be out 2 nights an entire month in a social environment. But again, I built the skills, And here's the thing, as a guy, if you don't have the skills to find, meet, and attract and keep a mate, it will pain you for the rest of your life. You will feel it all the time. You'll be frustrated. Men get angry. There's a danger when men's testosterone builds up. It can get out there.
Well, and I've read that, like in Asia, like 27% of men go on less than 1 date a year or something like that. Like men in the dating pool, that's a lot of sexually frustrated men.
Yeah, I mean, look at India, where the government had to talk about rape is not acceptable. The fact that the government has to make a statement because it's part of village culture, because a lot of frustrated men. And nobody teaches them. So
is the speaking of kind of along those lines, do you have to be more careful of what you talk about with your group and things like that, with all the sexual harassment that comes out? Do your guys ever get in trouble when they go out on these boot camps and because they're hitting on women and sometimes they don't know what to say yet?
Yeah.
Have you had any experiences or any examples?
I get a lot of guys who are very, sometimes you get some guys who are very socially miscalibrated. I get guys also who are actually just normal guys. They just like to learn how to have a bit more choice in their life. But you'll get the ones who are a bit, when they're speaking to women, they'll go across and they stand too close. They're almost over the top of them. They're leaning in. It just feels pervy. And it's letting them know, look, these are bad habits and you're making people feel uncomfortable. So if we can remove the bad habits, it makes an easier choice for them to move forward and not act so sleazy. But at the same time, the way we teach them is to not go in and direct your attention to any one girl. Go in and learn the beautiful art of approaching and winning over the group, bringing value, stimulating conversation, learning what to say, so nobody feels uncomfortable in the first place. And then making sure that when you do meet someone you like, and then you spend time, don't rush everything, connect. People go on about, sex and one-night stands. The best sex isn't on a one-night stand. That's just greasing the wheels, yeah? Literally the best sex is when you get into a relationship you feel and have a trusting bond with, then you get better sex. So people running around to get laid for one night, it's hollow. But the way we teach you guys is build a strong emotional connection. Always leave people in a better place than you find them.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part of anything.
So we don't really get those problems with the guys. They bring their own problems, and we have to work fast sometimes. Oh my God, did he really just do that?
Yeah, sure.
But he was doing that before us. He was really doing that before us. So our job is to remove those uncomfortable bad habits that could get them in trouble.
Oh, that's great. Well, and so for you, what's the next step in your life? I mean, obviously there's a time limit on dating coaching and things like that, and there's not very many 60-year-olds in your line of business or whatever. What's next in your life? How are you going to use these skills instead to go into your next stage of your life? What's next for you?
Yeah, I mean, now I've got other business interests, and right now we're building a team of 150 coaches. We have about 40 coaches on the ground.
So this is a huge global thing that's going on.
Yeah, totally. But I get to put my life coaching, my mentality into those coaches so that they carry a better word forward rather than some sleazy pickup thing of let's get laid, So I feel good that we've got about 150 coaches by the end of next year on the ground around the world who are able to help men live a better quality life. Health, wealth, social, and attraction, basic pickup skills. They have all of those with better ethics, leaving people in a better place when you find them, going out there and helping people find love, or you have meaningful relationships.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, I mean, do you believe in true love then? Like, what's your definition of how do you look at love in general? Like, because you've just seen a lot of, you're just in this so much and so deep. What's your feelings
Well,
on
the
love?
cold side of love is physiology. It's the stimulating chemicals bubbling up. Wow, I'm in love with this person. A guy meets the first girl he's having sex with, he can be in love because of that.
Sure.
It's better when somebody has choice and they've learned to not fall in love just because of basic, wow, she's hot or she's good looking or I'm having sex. And then eventually when people have choice, and that doesn't mean to say use people on your journey, once you have choice, then you're able to literally meet people, and the person you're meeting and you're selecting to have in your life has way more value for you than just looks alone. There's compatibility, there's commonality. He's bringing more into your life than you're bringing into theirs, and together, 1 and 1 equals 3 or more. There's something really special, and love shouldn't be falling in love at first sight. Met my girlfriend, I was floored. Was I in love at that point? No. Wow, that's attraction, that's a desire.
Sure.
But I don't know who she is yet. She could be an absolute Fruit Loop, And as you get to know her, because you have choice, you're not needy of sex, you're not needy of having a girlfriend because you have the skills, then you're actually connecting at a deeper level than you would have than a guy who doesn't have those skills, who doesn't have choice. And then love, yeah, I'm in love, I'm happy, and I love her totally. And that's beautiful. But I wasn't looking for it because I wasn't needy, because I had choice.
Excellent. Okay. The last question I want to ask you, this is a lot of, my audience is a Utah-based audience, and you've been all over the world. You've literally been to bars, clubs, social settings in every corner of the earth. How does Utah compare, and how does Utah compare to the rest of the world in that regard? Or give us some examples of things that you noticed about Utah.
It was funny because it's very different. I remember, for instance, we weren't allowed to have much to drink on our table at one time, and I think we had more alcohol on our table than the whole club at one moment. But I was abusing the rules a little bit. Forgive me. But what's interesting, it's a very tight community. The problem is with tight community, people are not willing to take risks, and their perception of themselves. So I just know by default, there's a beautiful thing where you're meeting people. It's like Scandinavia, a lot of friendship circles, and you're meeting people through that friendship circle. But men will become frustrated if you haven't got a good friendship circle. People should make the effort, especially in communities that are tight, to get out of your community and go and practice the art of approaching. So it'll give you more choices. Nice. Otherwise, you're reliant on your friendship pool and who you know, and that can limit your potential of meeting someone special. So communities that are tight are great for bond and what you can achieve. And I know you do so much in your community, and it's beautiful to see. But yeah, they can limit your choices. And also they can play on your ego of not wanting to make and take risks of approaching and meeting people. So yeah, go learn the art of, if I came to Utah the first time, I know I don't make people feel uncomfortable. I lift the energy wherever I go, make people feel good around me, and then you can meet people through that. And if we can teach people to do that, but they've got to be willing to learn. But what I suggest is, don't just go practice on your own and fuck it all up and then you're that guy,
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, get out of your town and get on one of our training camps and have a bit of fun and learn elsewhere, and then come back and add value.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. You're always welcome back in Utah.
Yes.
You were a good man and a good friend, and I appreciate you.
Always, Jimmy, my friend. Always, buddy.
Alrighty. Thank you so much.